Hot on the heels after the recent release of the GTS Series 2, one that I previously reviewed on the channel, comes the new F1L Series 2 from MVH Studios. And just like the GTS, the F1L offers the same neat trick of being able to operate as a straight Logitech wheel replacement or as a standalone USB compatible steering wheel. In this review, I'll show you how this is achieved, plus run through all the pertinent features, and finally onto the track for testing and evaluation. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please hit the like to support my channel. Here we go. The key feature that enables the F1L to work as a native Logitech wheel or standalone is the adapter you choose when buying the steering wheel. Do note, both are not included. I have them both here for the purpose of this review. Also worth mentioning, MVH Studios are currently working on a native Thrustmaster and Fanatec adapter too. I'll show you the adapter installation setups in a moment, but first let's take a tour around the steering wheel. The F1L is 280mm wide, featuring polyurethane moulded grips. The steering wheel construction is 3D printed using a combination of FDM and SLA 3D printing, but mainly FDM, which is your standard filament-based 3D printing. Carbon fibre reinforced PLA has been used to ensure it can cope with the forces outputs from a high-torque direct drive wheelbase. SLA resin-based 3D printing is used on the button surrounds as it provides a smoother, cleaner finish. The paddle shifters are also made using this material. The grips have been moulded directly onto the frame for a flush finish. The material is polyurethane with a Shore rating of 60A. The texture is a smooth rubbery surface. The button inputs are wired and pre-labelled to the original G29 steering wheel buttons, so they remain fully compatible with consoles. These are not full rotary dials, unfortunately, they are two-way inputs. This concession is due to the consideration of console compatibility. Nevertheless, a useful addition on the wheel layout. This is a full-colour dashboard display surrounded by an arrangement of RGB LEDs. The dashboard is both console and PC compatible. The telemetry game data is sent over Wi-Fi to the screen. MVH Studios has a spreadsheet listing all the compatible console titles. I've posted a link to this in the video description so you can check it out. On PC, you'll use SimHub and the MVH Studios plugin as the interface between the racing game and the steering wheel dashboard display. Any PC game that's compatible with SimHub is going to work here. All my testing is on PC. I don't have any console gaming footage to show you today. To mount the F1L to the Logitech wheelbase, you will of course need to remove the stock wheel first. It's not complicated, just a bunch of screws to deal with and unplugging a cable at the end. Be prepared to set aside a few minutes for this and take your time. For the rest of the installation, refer to MVH Studios video guide I'm showing you here, but sped up to keep things moving along. You'll find the original video on their product page. Instead of hard mounting the F1L to my G29, I'm using the MVH Studios Logitech Quick Release. This optional accessory means I can hot swap between wheels. I already have the base side for the quick release installed, so it only remains for me to attach the wheel side adapter to the F1L. For a direct drive wheelbase installation, we're going to use the direct drive adapter that features a controller board and coiled USB cable, essentially making the F1L a universal standalone steering wheel and functions like any other similar USB wheel button plate that's independent from the wheelbase and plugs directly into the PC. So we need to attach this adapter to our quick release, connect the cable, then screw it down to the back of the steering wheel. You'll notice that two of the screw holes are partially covered by the paddle shifter arms, so you do need to remove the paddle shifters during the installation to get access to these two holes, and then reseat the paddle shifters afterwards. We're not quite done yet, we still need to set up the display, and the first thing is you need to download and install SimHub if you don't have that already, and secondly install the SimHub plugin for the wheel. These are covered in the instructions and simple stuff, so we're going to skip ahead to connecting the Wi-Fi display to my Wi-Fi network. If you like my content, consider becoming a member to help support the channel. Click on the join button to find out more. Here we are on track with the F1L securely attached to my Logitech G29. Since the G29 is not an extremely powerful wheelbase, one does have to be aware that the size and weight of the steering wheel can have a significant effect on the strength of the force feedback. A larger, heavier wheel will bog down the motor and the felt force feedback will be reduced. The good news is the F1L is actually slightly lighter than the stock wheel by about 30 grams, so not much in it, but still lighter all the same. The width diameter are both smack on 280 millimeters. So the takeaway is there is no reduction in force feedback strength when using this steering wheel on the G29. Ergonomically, the F1L sits comfortably in my hands, the grips provide good friction and comes across as a durable material. Later, when we move on to my direct drive wheelbase, we'll talk about the overall sturdiness of the wheel. On a G29, it's never going to be a concern because of the low torque. It's an impressive feat that MVH Studios have been able to run the dashboard display without the need for additional power and able to draw the voltage required from the wheelbase connection. Now, the reason why the dashboard data is over Wi-Fi is a simple fact that the cable in the steering column is not designed for that purpose. The display is a mod and not a native feature. When you step back and review what they've managed to do here, it's a really clever thing, and having a full-featured display built into the steering wheel is a useful accessory, and not something you'll find in any other steering wheel at this price point. The row of RGB LEDs above the display are bright. When my eyes are focused on the screen ahead, I can still see them flashing below. I like that, but if you do find that a distraction, you can lower the brightness in the menu settings, and indeed you can do the same for the dashboard. It's also a nice touch that the LED light patterns come with adjustable presets. The cluster of LEDs on either side of the display act as flag warning lights, showing either green, yellow, blue or red to indicate the nature of the respective flag. You probably won't see them active in my footage as they are dependent on the circumstances during the race and also whether the game supports this particular telemetry data. Interestingly, this is the only wheel I own that has specific lights to support warning flags. I'm sure iRacing fans in particular will find this quite handy. If you take a moment and observe the speedo on the steering wheel and compare it to the hardwired display to the left, if you pause the video, you'll notice they are not perfectly in sync. Because the steering wheel display is taking its telemetry over Wi-Fi, there is a small margin of unavoidable latency. It's close enough though not to be an issue. I can also replicate this type of latency running a SimHub dashboard on a phone or tablet. The adapter has now been swapped out and the F1L is now mounted to my Moser R12, a beefy 12Nm direct drive. Everything we covered on the G29 carries over to the USB connected setup. The only difference is we're now running a cable to the PC from the steering wheel, but functionally it's the same deal in every other respect. So the only question we need to ask here is it capable of handling a high torque direct drive motor? And the answer is yes, that's the simple answer. MVH Studios have fully tested the F1L on a 17Nm semi-cube wheelbase. The steering wheel is stiff, there's no flex or creaking sounds coming from it. It's a solid wheel and certainly no problem for my 12Nm Moser here. Printed in carbon fibre reinforced PLA, a more durable and higher strength material over regular PLA. There are a couple of small issues I did not notice on the Logitech but are apparent on the direct drive. With a more powerful wheelbase, you handle the wheel differently as you are fighting stronger forces and gripping the wheel more firmly, hence I'm wearing gloves. There's a hard corner just above the grips. Occasionally when I'm rotating the wheel and repositioning my hands, my finger hits this edge and it is uncomfortable. This occurred enough times for me to notice it's there. Also, since the edge sticks out, if the wheel were to come free from my grip and spin wildly, that edge is somewhat of a minor hazard to be aware of when trying to regain control of the wheel, so that does concern me a bit. I also noticed the tip of my finger flicking against the edge of the paddle shifter. It is an adjustable element and you can see it's set as far away as I can manage, but still just a few millimeters too close, and I glance against the edge quite frequently when shifting. Nothing more than an inconvenience, but I do feel it could be better. I have already discussed these findings with MVH Studios and I do believe both of these are going to be looked into and revised very quickly. So a couple of things there I picked up during my testing, otherwise everything else is just fine. Going forward, MVH Studios is working to expand compatibility, adding adapters to support both Thrustmaster and Fanatec wheelbases. That may be coming quite soon, so keep an eye out for that, and even the possibility later in the year to add Logitech G Pro DD support too. For the here and now, we have a steering wheel that may be very tempting for Logitech G29, G920 and G923 wheelbase owners. For what it is, the F1L is fairly priced on spec. That said, balanced against the budget cost of the Logitech wheelbase, it may seem like an expensive upgrade for an entry-level wheelbase, and I can empathise with that argument, but don't forget the universal capability of the wheel. Later down the line, if you upgrade, you can take the F1L along with you, it's not going to be wasted, and that's where the value is. If you're already sporting a direct drive wheelbase that can run third-party wheels, the F1L could be worth considering. It's a fair bit cheaper than other Formula Star wheels you'll find elsewhere, and we also get that built-in colour display, and that's a feature you'll normally pay a big premium for on any other wheel. A strange paradox, a steering wheel that looks like an expensive G29 upgrade, but a bargain when paired with a direct drive. Overall, a decent steering wheel with a couple of minor issues that I hope MVH Studios will address quickly, and I think they will. So the F1L, I quite like it. It has a good look to it, suitable for F1 and modern GT race cars. The price is reasonable and a unique product, making it stand out from the crowd, which certainly piqued my interest. Unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation console, so I wasn't able to show you that, but be assured running the F1L steering wheel on your Logitech wheelbase, it is console compatible. Hopefully I've covered everything you need to know concerning the F1L from MVH Studios. If you want to find out more, head over to their website. There's a link below the video. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy simming and bye bye for now.